All right, hey, I'm Mike, and I'm going to build a MikroBench, and we'll just kind of see how long it takes. No big rush, but so I've got my Bose sound, whatever, reversing headphones on. Set the Pandora station. Already had plenty of coffee, so I don't have to do that this morning. But I have my 8-inch Android device out. That baby's all ready to go. I have it loaded with SketchUp Viewer, the free version. In this case, I'm going to use a paper version as well because I'm still kind of finalizing some of the details. So if I have to, I can make a note and then go back into SketchUp later to change that. I'm going to set this clock just for the heck of it. The clock doesn't even have a battery, so don't worry about it. We're not really truly timing this. I just want to get a ballpark and show a ballpark of how long it takes to do this. So let's get the parts. Okay, so for this project, I'm using 2 oak stair treads. I picked them up at Home Depot. And one thing that I'll cover that in the Instructables that I did for this project. Again, it's 2 of those. You could use pine, whatever. But one of the first things you're going to want to do, because they're store-bought, right? You got to take off these staples, otherwise you're going to hit those. But that's the raw material for this whole project. There's other options. I'll cover those later, but that's where I'm going to go. Okay, so I'm not going to count that in the time, but you got to take those off. But also, I kind of forgot to mention, I had surgery a few weeks ago, rotator cuff. So I'm still in a sling. I'm getting better, but so I'm going to try to do almost everything with my left, even though I'm right-handed. So occasionally you're going to see me do some things that maybe seem a little crazy, but that's because I'm using my left arm for the most part, and I can kind of use my right hand, but that's about it. So here we go. So if you are going to do this with the stair treads, please follow every single step that I have, because there is a sequence to things, and if you take it out of sequence, you may end up wasting basically a $30 board. So first step, cross cut at 24-inch, but straddle the mark so each board shares the loss of kerf, and that's because these are exactly 48 inches. The drawings call for 24 inches. But we're going to lose a little bit to the kerf. And so as long as these 2 pieces and the next 2 up here that are going to butt up to those later, as long as those are all just slightly shy of 24, we're still going to be just fine. So that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, this 12-inch D-walled has a lot of kick when you pull the trigger, and I have to pull the trigger. I have to cut it with my right hand, but I'm going to pull the trigger with my left hand. So I use that clamp down. I love those things. I use the clamp down, and again, I'm straddling my mark. There's cut number 1. Step number 2, set this edge right here. So that is not the bullnose edge. The bullnose edge is up here. It's still on the board. So this is the bullnose. That's going to basically be scrap later. So I want to make sure I send it this way. Set this edge of the table saw to the table saw fence and set the fence at 5.5 inch, then rip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, table saw was set to 5.5 inches. I've got the 90-degree angle edge against the fence, not the bullnose, right? Because bullnose, again, is going to become scrap later on. I have an automatic dust or a dust collector connected to an automatic switch, so it'll turn on when I turn this on. I've got my ear protection on. Number 3, set this edge to the table saw fence. It's still set up at 5.5, and then I'm going to rip. So again, it's important not to put the bull nose to it. We need to put the new cut to it, and I'm not going to use a jointer on this. We're going to be fine with this table saw cut. It's a brand new blade. So we're all set to go on that. Okay, so this one is number 4. Place this edge to the table saw, and set the fence at 11, and then rip. So again, we're talking about the 90-degree factory edge, not the bull nose. So setting it at 11, and my saws are always calibrated, so I don't have to remeasure like to the blade and stuff. So I'm all set to go on that. So to get to this point, it took 14 minutes. There we go.